Look at this thing.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sunday Drive. Today, we have our roommate, Akul, with us.
Hello.
We're going to do a one-year ownership review. We're going to do the good, the bad, the ugly with Mark 7.5 GTI ownership. Ready?
Yup, let's do it.
Let's do it. Right, so we're going to talk about the good. And for those of you that are waiting for a Camry video, it will come out soon. I swear, we're going to drive the car. We just need a little bit better weather. It's been very terrible here in Michigan. So the good things about the Golf GTI, for me, I think it's fun to drive, but you live with it, so I'll let you talk about it a little bit.
It's so fun to drive. I mean, that's the reason anyone buys a Golf GTI, right?
Yeah.
It's the reason why a lot of people actually like the GTI over the Golf R, is because it's just a little zippy go-kart. I mean, it kind of has the same emotions that like a Miata or like a Fiesta ST has, but in a much more grown-up car. It's still a great daily driver. It's really comfortable. It's pretty quiet. It's great on gas. I get like 33 to 35 average, city and highway. But when I want to open it up on a back road, it's just as fun. You can have plenty of fun without breaking the speed limit. It's also something you can turn up to at your like corporate American desk job, and no one will look at you weird. Yeah,
no one will look at you weird. It's very mature, and I'd say you're talking about how it has character. It definitely talks back to you a little bit. This car has a personality.
And because it looks so boring. Is this the Jeep that we just saw, flooring it down the road?
Did they break down? Oh.
They definitely got in an accident.
They got in an accident.
Well, that was the Jeep that we saw just like flooring it, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Yeah, don't drive like a jerk.
It's very fun to drive. It's really engaging. I do not regret the 6-speed manual transmission. A lot of people rag on this transmission. It's actually fine. I think the reason people, rag on it a lot is because the GSD is just so damn good. It shifts so fast and it's got so many tuning capabilities. But with that being said, this is still really engaging. As long as you're in like a decent part of the country where the temperature isn't cold, the shifts feel great. If you live in Michigan, the shifts might not feel great, but you know what? You can't have
yeah,
anything.
this car is very sensitive to cold weather, which is surprising because Germany gets really cold.
Maintenance has been really easy. Being a first-time Euro car owner, and especially a first-time Volkswagen owner, and coming from like Toyotas and Hondas and Mazdas and stuff, I was really scared. I was like, oh, this is going to be a piece of shit, and I'm going to hate it, and it's going to be really expensive. It's going to bankrupt me, and that's not been true. Actually, it's been easier to maintain than any other car I've ever had, maybe minus the Miata. But you have to do the maintenance, and there's a lot more of it, but they make it so easy for you to do, especially on these newer cars. My oil changes, I mean, if I wasn't fucking around, sorry, I can't swear, it's YouTube.
No, we can bleep it out, it's fine.
Okay. If I wasn't fucking around, they should take me like 15-20 minutes, especially with how much I drive. That makes a difference because I'm doing oil changes like once a month sometimes.
Yeah, you drive this car, you bought it 18 or 19,000 miles?
I bought it with 14K on
14,000, that's 38,000 miles, yeah. 1 year of ownership.
So I drive quite a bit. It's nice to have a car that is just, the maintenance is easy, I don't have to think about it, and then maintenance cost has been pretty low too, thanks to FCP Euro.
Lifetime replacement guarantee.
This video is not sponsored by FCP Euro.
Not sponsored.
But if you are...
Please sponsor me, FCP Euro.
Yes, please, FCP, call me.
Give us a call.
Yeah. But they make it really easy. I mean, if you take advantage of the return policy that they have, the lifetime warranty policy that they have, it's really good on saving you, a couple bucks here and there, especially if you're driving a lot. Being my daily driver, I really needed it to be dependable. Of course, with Japanese cars, it's not a question. They'll start every time. And I've heard a bunch of horror stories with these cars just giving owners some trouble, especially if they've been mistreated in the past, buying used cars. Luckily, this one has started every single time. I'm no longer scared of horrible, unreliable Volkswagen nightmares. I have confidence in the car, and that's been really good, really refreshing, and it's been really good, actually. It's given me everything that a Japanese car has in terms of reliability and being fun to drive and being nice to live with.
Snow driving. This car does pretty well in the snow, I think, with snow tires. So something that I've seen people complaining about with GTIs is that the Pirellis that come on them from the factory suck.
Oh, they're dog water, but like so are all Pirellis that come from the factory.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Pirellis, but I guess they were fine in the drive, but in any sort of like not perfect condition, the tires were just awful. So you have some Continental Viking.
I have Continental Viking Contact 7s on this
car.
car.
Good winter tire.
Great winter tire. Oh, we got a train, ladies and gentlemen.
We're stuck by a train.
Live on MTech. We are here. We are in East Lansing, Michigan. We have a train crossing happening live on Trowbridge Road. It's gonna be a fucking joke. If this gets any views, I'll be amazed.
Yeah, we'll be amazed.
That won't make the video either. I promise you.
Right. So moving on to the bad. There are some bad things about this car. I think first we should talk about the most common one you see with German cars, and that is the maintenance. So we alluded to it earlier. The maintenance so far has not been too bad, but as these get higher mileage, there starts to be more and more of the maintenance. Especially, you're saying if you had a DSG car.
Yeah, so with the DSG cars, trans fluid services are every 40,000 miles. And like, that isn't extortionate, but on a Honda or a Toyota, you would maybe think about doing it around 100K. But on these, it's like 40K, stock, strictly, a little less if you're tuned, I think. And that's kind of, it adds up, especially because most people won't be doing them on their own. They'll probably take them to a shop, maybe a Euro shop or the dealer, and you can spend, a pretty penny on them. And it's just, maintenance you can't look over. You can't ignore like you could on, a Civic Si or something.
A Japanese car will take the abuse. This won't. There's also the carbon cleaning when they get to higher mileage. Yeah, it's a lot of money. And I think that, like, you can run 87 in this car, but it's recommended you run 93 because of the carbon buildup issue.
Right. Yeah, 91 or above, depending on where you live. Some people might not have 93 available to them. Here in the state of Michigan, we see 93, and that's what I choose to put in the car, just because every single Volkswagen guy I talk to tells me that I need to do it. Is it fake news? Maybe. I do it for peace of mind.
So let's talk about the motor mounts now. This one is very, very annoying, and it's something that we talked about in the first video we made when you kind of own this car for like a month or so, or maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
But it's still just as annoying, I think, as it was when you first got it. You can kind of lead up, I think it's worse in the manual cars, because when you're shifting between like 1 and 2, you really gotta like go really slow with your clutch work and your gas to kind of get like a smooth shift.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't recommend anyone slam shift any car, but this one gets really unhappy if you're like even kind of trying to shift faster. I mean, nothing feels solid. It all feels very mushy. You would think would help with NVH, but it really doesn't.
No, they're like too soft.
Yeah, it's really too soft. A lot of people recommend stage 1 mounts. You're going to have to deal with a little bit of added NVH, but that might be worth it just to tighten up your drivetrain a little bit.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because the engine is like go, 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 but then you have the motor mounts, and plus added with the rev hang. If you do shift it quickly, the engine and transmission are going to shift so much, and actually, this will be something else we kind of bring up again later in the ugly, but it just creates a not great driving experience. And then the last thing we're going to talk about in the bad is how many dealer trips you had to take. Not over like important things, but just over like dumb, kind of stupid things. Notably the parking brake. You went to the dealer maybe 3 times?
Yeah, 3 or 4 times to get the parking brake fixed. Don't know what's going on with it. Other dealer visits were for things like electronic issues. I know at one point my gauge cluster started freaking out on me. I wouldn't be able to change the brightness, and the car would just be doing weird things. I'd get a warning light every now and then, which I actually still get sometimes.
Yeah, and then also like your infotainment screen sometimes just shuts off for no reason.
It does, but that's just new car screen things.
Yeah,
I can't really say that that's limited to just Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Every new car, nobody has a good experience with their infotainment.
If anybody knows the solution to that, comment down below. Maybe there's something that can be done with that. So, on to the ugly now. And there's not too much ugly, but I'll let Akul talk about, because I've watched him do it, and he's had some bad experience with that.
So, number 1 on the ugly list would be grinding gears and then getting popped out of certain gears. I'll be driving along, normal driving, not trying to push the car, and I'll just, go for third, for example, and just horrible grinding where it won't let me get in the gear. I'll have to back out, maybe shift down back to second, give it a second, and then slide into third, and everything's fine. And that happens probably every other time I drive the car. It's pretty random. I've gotten used to it. It's something I just kind of work around right now. It could be related to the play in the motor mounts and the transmission mount. It could be a misaligned shifter. It could be a number of things. It could be the way the car was driven in the past. Who knows? Just something that I've been living with on this particular car.
Yeah, no, I witnessed it once when I was in the passenger seat with him, and it was it's pretty violent. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
To me, it kind of looks like an engine, as a result of the engine trans mounts, because it when the shifted power, and I don't know, because of how rubbery everything is, you try to go grab the gear, it just kind of misses and doesn't hit the gate. So that's kind of the only item I think for the ugly is just the grinding gears. That would personally drive me nuts, but it's just an unfortunate reality of the car, I guess. Comment down below if you're an owner and you've also experienced this issue. Maybe motor mounts fix it, maybe there's some shifter mod. We're not sure, we're still figuring that part out, but kind of circling back, there is one more note we want to make about this car. Cool drove a Mark 8. I haven't yet, I would like to. So driven a Mark 8, and I'm gonna let him kind of talk about the difference between this car and the Mark 8. So I know it's been a very controversial car in the Volkswagen world. Some people love it, some people hate it. Take it away.
Yeah, so I was able to spend a little bit of time in the Mark 8, and you know, a lot of the horror story things that, you know, car journalists were talking about, I did see. I hated the haptic touch in the car. I hated how hard it was to find all the menus. I hate that everything is centered in the infotainment. And that's just a new car thing. That's just the way things are, you know, the direction things are. The interior just felt a little cheaper. You can definitely tell that since Volkswagen is no longer selling the normal Golf in the United States, that they had to kind of cut costs in some places. The biggest thing that I was left with was when I got back in this car, started driving, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. This feels way better. This feels way more driver focused. And that has left me with this feeling that I think some people are also coming to the conclusion to, which is the Mark 7.5 GTI is kind of the last great GTI that will ever be made.
They kind of just did it right.
Yeah, they did it right. They got a lot of things right with this car. I mean, this is a car that changed a lot of people's opinion on Volkswagen as a brand. It certainly changed my opinions on Volkswagen as a brand.
Looking off of just like purely photos, I really like the way the Mark 8 Golf R looks. I think it's one of the most beautiful Volkswagens of all time. I really love that car. But I think the interior in the Mark 7, especially the Mark 7.5, is just leagues better.
Beauty is nothing with brains, so looks are only half the battle.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't shop with your eyes.
Shop with your heart. Well, I think that's it, everybody. We covered all of the good, the bad, the ugly of the Mark 7.5 GTI after 1 year of him owning it and me witnessing him owning it, and many nights of him coming home crying about this car.
Yes.
And disappointment or joy, depending on the day.
Right. Stay tuned. Hopefully on this channel you will see some fun things coming for this car.
Yeah, definitely. Once you figure out what we want to do to it or not do to it and whatever. But with that said, everybody, take care. We will see you in the next one.
Bye. This is so stupid. Maybe this could be like a very end or something. Or honestly, just just go put it in there, then have like the beep cut transmission.
Yeah.
Like the bleep bloopers thing.